2025 is going to be a very interesting year for social media creators. First of all, we could literally be just a few days away from a TikTok ban in the US, which means people are going to go crazy. Algorithms will go crazy, and especially the Instagram algorithm is going to go crazy if people are going to come over. We'll see. I'll make a video once we know more. But Meta also announced a bunch of big changes and things they're going to focus on in 2025 these last days. The main keywords being less censorship, more creativity, and more connections, aka algorithm craziness. So let's take a closer look at all of these and how they're going to affect you as a content creator going forward.
We're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content.
So Zuckerberg, or actually should I say Suckupberg, which has surprisingly announced something actually interesting if you ask me. First of all, the abandonment of third-party fact checkers, at least just right now in the US, as a result of that, a change in the whole algorithm and what gets recommended. If you've been here for a while, you're probably aware that I'm not the biggest fan generally of a group of people telling me what to say or what to think even, or telling me what is right or what is wrong. So in my opinion, the whole thing generally is a very good thing. But anyway, let's talk about this thing from the ground up. Essentially, Marky Mark said the following: fact checkers, independent fact checkers, seem to have helped cause more division among people, and they're also pretty biased, right? And they're wrong a lot of the times. And basically, they're going to replace this whole system with what they call community notes, similar to what X is doing. By the way, we already have some leaks, how it's going to look like, but no surprise, obviously. So essentially, this whole thing, instead of just some people sitting there and saying, oh, look at me, we are the ones telling you what to think and what is right or wrong, the power goes to the people, basically, essentially crowdsourcing, adding context to controversial posts and stuff like this. Because context is actually the difference between going in a war and just having a civil conversation. Still, we're gonna have to wait and see how this is gonna get implemented, because yeah, we know some people are weird, lots of people are stupid, and you never know how it's actually gonna be like. If it's a little like on Twitter, on X, I think it's actually a good thing. Because 1-2 years ago, these fact checkers, they did some really heavy mental gymnastics to get to a conclusion. And some of the things reminded me of some things we learned in history class. With that being said, the actual issue I've seen working with lots of creators from different parts of the world, from different backgrounds, with different niches, stuff like this, the issue was and still is, to be honest, so we're gonna have to wait and see, that these algorithms, these fact checkings and ranking algorithms are going crazy sometimes with these things, sometimes overly censoring totally fine content. For example, we've worked with quite a few creators that were put into a shadow ban because there was a wrong word, not even what they said, but in a screenshot they shared in the story and stuff like this. And months after the fact, they got hit with a fact check and stuff like this. We've seen this whole algorithm go crazy. Best example, it's from a resource I shared with my creator mentorship clients. The algorithm once saw a word that describes the act of mating of two individuals on my necklace right here. You know, basically, in a picture like this. Now, I might have the one or the other thing depicting or talking about this particular act, but in this case, there was nothing on the, I think it was even this necklace. It was not part of it at all. Yet the algorithm saw this, most likely recognized it, or at least categorized the content and suppressed the reach. Now, if we talk about it like this, obviously it's a funny anecdote, but the funny stuff actually ends if you're being slapped with a 1-year reach drop. And that's what literally happened to some of my clients. And basically their whole lives depended on this, because some of them were full-time content creators, and suddenly something, because of some wrong, not even wrong think, you know, like we know from the book 1984, but actually algorithms just being glitchy, their personal situation and their lives actually were challenged quite a bit. Now, apparently this whole thing is about to change. Like I said, we're going to see. We're usually not to trust Meta if we go by experience, but still, Marky Mark announced that they're going to stop searching every piece of content that's being uploaded and had been uploaded already for any type of violation. And then apparently that's what's going on up until now, and probably still is going on. They're going through every piece of content and just trying to find something, right? And if you want to find something, you're probably going to find something. The other thing, what they're going to do is they're going to simplify this whole process, the whole violation process. I've seen people talk about it like it's the end of the world. It's not like you think. It is actually something that I believe benefits everybody across the board. right? Because they're not saying, well, we're going to allow hate speech. Quite the opposite. They're actually talking about simplifying some things, actually still obviously upholding some of the law, talking about really hateful things and illegal things and things that just shouldn't be said. With that being said, for the first time ever, they kind of admitted that they have a lot of wrong things happening in their algorithm. They said they're going to fine-tune these filters. Let me show another crazy thing. In 21, 22 or something like that, somebody showed me this screenshot. Basically, somebody wanted to follow a DJ. I think this DJ didn't have any strange content. This DJ was being labeled as posting false information, and the algorithm was actually trying to suppress people following him. So there was a pop-up there. Now, that was a few years ago, but back then I tried to actually post this to my stories, and I tried to make people aware of this, but they also tried their best to not have me post this. You know, I got slapped with some screenshots saying, do you really want to post this? Are you sure? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm sure. Possibly this affected my reach. With that being said, the other thing they've been hinting at is that they're going to focus a lot more on creativity, as our old friend Adam Ziri, the head of Instagram, says. What that actually means, again, we have no idea. I feel like, especially Adam, saying a lot of wishy-washy things. I feel like he's not really happy with this, with these censorship changes for some reason. I'm not sure. But anyway, what he was talking about was probably they're going to integrate AI-generated content a lot more, both in terms of finding ideas for content research, but also for creating AI-generated content. You know, there's some examples that they showed recently. We're going to see how that works out. I'm not sure creativity and AI actually go hand in hand, to be honest, especially in terms of these low quality creators. But here's actually where it gets interesting, because he mentioned again that they're going to reward original content and creativity even more. So let me just predict a few things. First of all, I think they're going to revamp their in-app editing software because it sucks. And they're going to tweak their algorithms to basically do what we've been talking about here for quite a while. They're going to tune the knobs to basically filter out mediocre content, easy to replicate content, not as creative content, and actually reward people that have that extra bit of juiciness. For example, creators who go the extra mile of coming up with awesome content, for example, having awesome hooks and content that does not feel formulaic and it just feels right. Now, this video right here is going to walk you through how you can become one of these creators. I'll show you some of the changes that I've seen working with lots of clients, and you're going to benefit from this upcoming algorithm change if you implement what I talk about in there.